Before you begin your day, pause. Do not rush into the world just yet. Do not check your phone. Do not replay yesterday. Do not think about what could go wrong. Right now, in this quiet moment, you are standing at the creative center of your reality. This is the most important moment of your entire day, because what you accept as true in the next few minutes will echo through every hour that follows. You are not here by accident. You were guided to hear this message because today is meant to unfold differently. Today is meant to shift in your favor. Today is meant to prove to you how powerful you truly are. But it begins within. The world you see is not the cause. It is the effect. The cause is your state of being, your assumption, your inner conversation, the silent beliefs you carry into the morning. So, before you step into the outer world, choose your position. Choose to believe that everything is aligning for you. Choose to feel that unseen forces are organizing events in your favor. Choose to know that what you desire is already secured. You are not trying to make something happen today. You are allowing what is already arranged to unfold. Take a deep breath and step into this day as the one for whom everything works out. The moment you awaken each morning, you are not merely opening your eyes to a new day. You are stepping into a creative chamber where the entire script of the next 24 hours is waiting for your instruction. Before a single word is spoken, before a single action is taken, before the outer world makes its demands, something far more powerful is already at work, your state of consciousness. This first inner movement, this first emotional tone, becomes the silent architect of everything that follows. Most people rise from sleep unconsciously. They reach for their phone. They remember yesterday's worries. They anticipate today's problems. Without realizing it, they have already chosen the state from which the day will unfold. They assume stress, so the day reflects pressure. They assume delay, so they experience obstacles. They assume difficulty, so the hours seem heavy. They believe they are reacting to life. But in truth, life is responding to the state they accepted in those first waking moments. The morning is sacred because it is unguarded. In that delicate space between sleep and full awareness, the mind is most impressionable. What you feel there sinks deep into your being and hardens into expectation. And expectation is creative. It quietly organizes circumstances, conversations, and outcomes to match itself. The world does not begin when you step outside your door. It begins when you accept a feeling as true. If you wake and immediately feel gratitude, even before you have evidence for it, the day begins to search for reasons to justify that gratitude. If you wake with calm confidence, events seem to move with ease. If you rise with the quiet assumption that everything is working in your favor, you will notice doors opening where you once expected resistance. It is not magic. It is alignment. The outer world mirrors the inner atmosphere. Consider how different your day feels when you wake up excited versus when you wake up irritated. The same schedule, the same people, the same tasks, yet the experience shifts entirely. Why? Because the state shifted. The cause was internal, and the effect appeared external. This is the law operating with precision. It does not discriminate between positive or negative states. It simply reflects. That is why the first 5 minutes after waking are more powerful than the next 5 hours. In those first moments, you are deciding who you are for the day. Are you the one who struggles or the one who succeeds? Are you the one who reacts or the one who directs? Are you the one who expects setbacks or the one who assumes smooth progress? You do not change your life by changing circumstances first. You change your life by changing the state from which you meet those circumstances. So instead of waking and asking, what might go wrong today? Ask, what wonderful things are already arranged for me? Instead of replaying yesterday's disappointments, feel tonight's satisfaction as if the day has already unfolded beautifully. Step into the version of yourself who ends this day fulfilled, accomplished, and at peace, and feel that reality now in advance, This is not pretending, it is selecting. When you deliberately choose a morning state of assurance, you are placing an order with the deeper intelligence that shapes your experiences. You are declaring, without words, "This is the version of reality I accept," and reality responds accordingly. You may still encounter challenges, but they will feel different. They will appear manageable, even purposeful. Why? Because you began from stability rather than fear. You began from confidence rather than doubt. The state colors the perception, and perception shapes the experience. Many believe that productivity determines a successful day, but productivity flows naturally from alignment. When your state is clear and empowered, actions become efficient. Conversations become smoother. Ideas come more easily. Opportunities become visible. The difference is not in the workload. It is in the inner posture. Imagine waking tomorrow and refusing to entertain a single negative expectation. Imagine deciding, before your feet touch the ground, that today supports you. Feel the calm certainty of that decision. Carry it into your shower, your breakfast, your commute. Notice how your posture shifts. Notice how your tone softens. Notice how your responses become measured instead of reactive. This is how a day is created, not by force, but by assumption. Your first morning state is like tuning an instrument. If the instrument is tuned to harmony, the music flows beautifully. If it is tuned to discord, every note sounds strained. You are the instrument. The world is the music. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this practice. It requires no effort beyond awareness. It requires no external change. It only asks that you become intentional with the very first feeling you accept each day. Wake gently. Breathe deeply. Choose deliberately. Because before the world speaks to you, you speak to it silently through your state. And whatever you declare in that quiet moment becomes the day you live. Most people wait for evidence before they allow themselves to believe. They say, "When I see it, I will trust it. When it happens, I will feel secure. When it arrives, I will be confident." But this way of living keeps fulfillment always one step ahead, always just out of reach. The deeper law of life works in the opposite direction. You do not believe because you see. You see because you believe. Assumption precedes proof. The outer world is not a courtroom where evidence is presented before conviction. It is a mirror. And a mirror does not decide what to reflect. It simply returns what stands before it. If you stand before life with doubt, you will find circumstances that justify doubt. If you stand before it with quiet certainty, you will witness confirmations of that certainty. The world does not create your belief, it echoes it. This is why waiting for proof is a subtle form of delay. When you demand visible confirmation before you assume success, you are unknowingly postponing it. You are telling reality, "I do not yet accept this as true." And what you do not accept cannot solidify into experience. The law responds not to your wishes, but to your assumptions. Assumption is not blind optimism. It is an inner decision. It is choosing to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled before the senses agree. It is saying, "This is already arranged," even when appearances suggest otherwise. And though this may feel unnatural at first, it is the very act that initiates change. Consider how easily fear works. A person imagines something going wrong and begins to feel anxious. There is no proof that disaster will occur, yet the body reacts, the mind prepares, and the emotions follow the imagined outcome. The assumption alone creates a physical response. If assumption can produce fear without evidence, it can just as powerfully produce confidence without evidence. The mechanism is the same, only the direction differs. When you assume success, something shifts inside you immediately. Your posture straightens. Your voice steadies. Your decisions become clearer. You move differently. And because you move differently, others respond differently. Doors open not because you forced them, but because you carried yourself as one who expected them to open. The proof appears because the assumption came first. The mistake many make is reacting to temporary appearances as though they are final facts. A delay becomes failure. A closed door becomes rejection. A mistake becomes proof that I cannot. But these are interpretations rooted in prior assumptions. If instead you hold the assumption that everything works in your favor, even a delay becomes preparation. A closed door becomes redirection. A mistake becomes refinement. The event remains the same, the meaning transforms. Assumption is creative because it stabilizes your inner world. And once the inner world stabilizes, the outer world must reorganize. It may not happen instantly, but it is inevitable. Just as a seed planted beneath the soil is unseen before it sprouts, your assumption works beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Impatience uproots the seed. Persistence nourishes it. To assume does not mean to pretend. It means to accept inwardly what you desire as though it were already fact. You feel the relief now. You embody the confidence now. You speak inwardly from the accomplished result now. And as you remain faithful to that state, reality aligns around it. Think of the times in your life when you were certain something would go well. Perhaps you walked into an opportunity expecting success. You did not yet have the outcome in hand, but you felt it internally. That internal conviction shaped your behavior, your energy, and ultimately your result. The proof followed your expectation. Now imagine applying this deliberately. Imagine waking each morning and assuming that today favors you. Assume that conversations will unfold smoothly. Assume that solutions will appear at the right moment. Assume that you are supported in ways you cannot yet see. Feel the steadiness of that belief before any external sign confirms it. At first, the mind may protest. It may demand evidence. It may point to past disappointments. But those past disappointments were themselves reflections of earlier assumptions. You are not bound to them. You are free to choose differently now. Assumption is an act of creative authority. It is stepping into the role of cause rather than effect. It is deciding the inner narrative before the outer story unfolds. And when you persist in that narrative, proof arrives, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, but always consistently with the state you maintained. So stop asking the world to prove itself to you first. Instead, prove to yourself that you can hold a chosen state regardless of appearances. Accept inwardly what you wish to experience. Stand in that acceptance calmly and steadily, because the law is unwavering. What you assume to be true and persist in assuming will eventually stand before you as fact. Assumption precedes proof, always. There is a profound difference between hoping for something and living from it. Hoping places your desire in the future. Leaving from the end places you in the future. Now, most people spend their days wanting, wishing, and waiting. They think about what they desire as something separate from themselves, something that may arrive one day, if circumstances allow it. But true creative power begins the moment you stop longing for the outcome and start embodying it. To live from the end means to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled before it materializes. It means you no longer ask, how will this happen? But instead settle into the quiet certainty that it has already happened in consciousness. You shift from becoming to being. Imagine you desire success in your work. The usual approach is effort fueled by anxiety. You push harder, worry more, and measure every step against the fear of failure. But living from the end feels entirely different. It feels like the calm satisfaction of someone who already knows they are successful. Decisions are made from confidence rather than desperation. Actions flow from clarity rather than pressure. You are not chasing validation, you are expressing fulfillment. The outer world responds not to your words, but to your state. When you live from the end, you change the state from which you operate. You think differently. You speak differently. You interpret events differently. And because your interpretation shifts, your experience shifts. Living from the end is not fantasy. It is not denial of present circumstances. It is a deliberate relocation of identity. You are choosing to identify with the version of yourself who has already received what you desire. You are rehearsing inwardly the emotional tone of completion. If you desire harmony in a relationship, do not wait for the other person to change before you feel at peace. Feel the peace now. Feel the warmth now. Feel the appreciation now. When you consistently occupy that inner atmosphere, the dynamic begins to transform. Conversations soften. Tension eases. And even if changes seem gradual, they are rooted in your inner shift. Most frustration arises because people remain internally attached to the state of not yet. They constantly check for signs. They measure progress. They question timing. But living from the end removes the anxiety of waiting. There is nothing to wait for because in consciousness, it is done. Consider how different your body feels when you imagine a problem versus when you imagine its solution already resolved. The body relaxes. The breath deepens. The mind quiets. That physical response reveals something important. Your nervous system does not distinguish sharply between vividly imagined completion and physical completion. When you feel it as real inwardly, your entire being aligns with that reality. The secret is persistence. It is easy to feel fulfilled for a moment. The challenge is remaining there when appearances contradict you. But appearances are simply reflections of previous states. They are echoes, not verdicts. If you continue living from the end, the echo must eventually change. Living from the end also transforms how you handle obstacles. Instead of seeing them as proof that your desire is distant, you recognize them as part of the unseen bridge connecting your present to your fulfillment. You no longer react with fear. You respond with calm assurance. After all, if the end is secure, then every step, even unexpected ones, must be leading toward it. This practice requires imagination guided by feeling. At night, before sleep, imagine a short scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. Feel the satisfaction, the relief, the gratitude. In the morning, carry that same emotional tone into your day. Walk, speak, and decide as the one who has already succeeded. Over time, this becomes natural. The line between inner conviction and outer experience begins to blur. What once felt like deliberate imagination begins to feel like simple truth. Living from the end dissolves struggle because it removes inner conflict. You are no longer divided between wanting and doubting. You are unified in acceptance. And acceptance is powerful. It stabilizes your state. It clarifies your perception. It attracts corresponding experiences. The world rearranges itself around identity. If you see yourself as incomplete, life mirrors lack. If you see yourself as fulfilled, life mirrors abundance. Identity precedes experience. So stop standing at the starting line of your desire. Step mentally across the finish line. Feel the accomplishment. Feel the joy. Feel the quiet pride. Let that feeling guide your day. Because when you live from the end, you are no longer chasing reality. You are directing it. What you call your current reality is not a fixed structure. It is not an unchangeable fact. It is a shadow, an echo of states you once occupied and accepted as true. Every circumstance you experience today was first a subtle movement within you. A belief held, a fear entertained, a hope cherished, a story repeated. And though the outer form may seem solid and convincing, it is only the delayed reflection of something that has already occurred in consciousness. Think of standing before a mirror. The reflection you see does not initiate movement. It follows it. If you smile, the mirror smiles. If you frown, the mirror frowns. Yet imagine forgetting this and attempting to change the reflection directly. You would grow frustrated, pushing at the glass, demanding its shift, not realizing that the source of change is you. Life works the same way. Circumstances do not create your state. They reflect it. Most people live in reaction to shadows. They argue with what they see. They resist appearances. They label conditions as permanent or unfair. But the more they fight the reflection, the more they remain bound to the state that produced it. Reaction is unconscious loyalty to the past. And as long as you react emotionally to a circumstance, you continue feeding the state from which it emerged. To understand that circumstances are shadows of past states is to reclaim authority. It means that nothing